Residential Building Inspector Exam Course Preparation. Class 3. Chapter 4. Foundations. R401.3 Drainage. Surface drainage shall be diverted to a storm sewer conveyance or other approved point of collection that does not create a hazard. Lots shall be graded to drain surface water away from foundation walls. The grade shall fall not fewer than 6 inches, 152 millimeters, within the first 10 feet, 3,048 millimeters. Exception: where lot lines, walls, slopes, or other physical barriers prohibit 6 inches, 152 millimeters of fall within 10 feet, 3,048 millimeters, drains or swales shall be constructed to ensure drainage away from the structure. Impervious surfaces within 10 feet, 3,048 millimeters of the building foundation shall be sloped not less than 2% away from the building. R402.2 Concrete. Concrete shall have a minimum specified compressive strength of FC, as shown in Table R402.2. Concrete subject to moderate or severe weathering, as indicated in Table R301.21, shall be air-entrained as specified in Table R402.2. The maximum weight of fly ash, other pozzolans, silica fume, slag, or blended cements that is included in concrete mixtures for garage floor slabs and for exterior porches, carport slabs, and steps that will be exposed to de-icing chemicals shall not exceed the percentages of the total weight of cementitious materials specified in Section 19.3.3.4 of ACI 318. Materials used to produce concrete and testing thereof shall comply with the applicable standards listed in Chapter 19 and 20 of ACI 318 or ACI 332. R402.3.1 Precast concrete foundation materials. Materials used to produce precast concrete foundations shall meet the following requirements. 1. All concrete used in the manufacture of precast concrete foundations shall have a minimum compressive strength of 5,000 psi, 34,470 kPa at 28 days. Concrete exposed to a freezing and thawing environment shall be air-entrained with a minimum total air content of 5%. 2. Structural reinforcing steel shall meet the requirements of ASTM A615, A706, or A996. The minimum yield strength of reinforcing steel shall be 40,000 psi, grade 40, 276 MPa. Steel reinforcement for precast concrete foundation walls shall have a minimum concrete cover of 3/4 inch, 19.1 millimeters. 3. Panel-to-panel connections shall be made with grade 2 steel fasteners. 4. The use of non-structural fibers shall conform to ASTM C1116. R403.1.1 Minimum footing size. Footing projections, P, shall not be less than 2 inches, 51 millimeters, and shall not exceed the thickness of the footing. Footing thickness and projection for fireplaces shall be in accordance with Section R1001.2. The size of footings supporting piers and columns shall be based on the tributary load and allowable soil pressure in accordance with Table R401.4.1. R403.1.4 Minimum footing depth. Exterior footings shall be placed not less than 12 inches, 305 millimeters below the undisturbed ground surface. Where applicable, the depth of footings shall also conform to Sections R403.1.4.1 through R403.1.4.2. R403.1.3.2 Masonry stem walls with concrete footings. In seismic design categories D0, D1, and D2, where a masonry stem wall is supported on a concrete footing, Not fewer than one number 4 vertical bar shall be installed at not more than 4 feet, 1,219 millimeters on center. The vertical bar shall have a standard hook and extend to the bottom of the footing, and shall have support and cover as specified in section R403.1.3.5.3, and extend not less than 14 inches, 357 millimeters, into the stem wall. Standard hooks shall comply with section R608.5.4.5. Not fewer than one number 4 horizontal bar shall be installed within 12 inches, 305 millimeters, of the top of the wall, and one number 4 horizontal bar shall be located 3 to 4 inches, 76 millimeters to 102 millimeters, from the bottom of the footing. Masonry stem walls shall be solid grouted. R403.1.4.1 Frost Protection. Except where otherwise protected from frost, foundation walls, piers, and other permanent supports of buildings and structures shall be protected from frost by one or more of the following methods. 1. Extended below the frost line specified in Table R301.1.2.1. 2. Constructed in accordance with Section R403.3. 3. Constructed in accordance with ASCE 32. 4. Erected on solid rock. Footings shall not bear on frozen soil unless the frozen condition is permanent. R403.1.3.5.3 Support and cover reinforced concrete. Reinforcement shall be secured in the proper location in the forms with tie wire or other bar support system to prevent displacement during the concrete placement operation. Steel reinforcement in concrete cast against the earth shall have a minimum cover of 3 inches, 75 millimeters. Minimum cover for reinforcement in concrete cast in removable forms that will be exposed to the earth or weather shall be 1.5 inches, 38 millimeters, for number 5 bars and smaller, and 2 inches, 50 millimeters, for number 6 bars and larger. For concrete cast in removable forms that will not be exposed to the earth or weather, and for concrete cast in stay-in-place forms, minimum cover shall be 3/4 inch, 19 millimeters. R403.1.3.5.4 Lap Splices. Vertical and horizontal reinforcement shall be the longest lengths practical. Where splices are necessary in reinforcement, the length of lap splice shall be in accordance with Table R608.5.4.1 and Figure R608.5.4.1. The maximum gap between non-contact parallel bars at a lap splice shall not exceed the smaller of 1/5 the required lap length and 6 inches, 152 millimeters. R403.1.5 Footing Slope. The top surface of footings shall be level. The bottom surface of footings shall not have a slope exceeding 1 unit vertical in 10 units horizontal, 10% slope. Footings shall be stepped where it is necessary to change the elevation of the top surface of the footings, or where the slope of the bottom surface of the footings will exceed 1 unit vertical in 10 units horizontal, 10% slope. R404.1.6 Height above finished grade. Concrete and masonry foundation walls shall extend above the finished grade adjacent to the foundation at all points not less than 4 inches, 102 millimeters, where masonry veneer is used, and not less than 6 inches, 152 millimeters, elsewhere. R404.1.3.3.4 Proportioning and slump of concrete. Proportions of materials for concrete shall be established to provide workability and consistency to permit concrete to be worked readily into forms and around reinforcement under conditions of placement to be employed without segregation or excessive bleeding. Slump of concrete placed in removable forms shall not exceed 6 inches, 152 millimeters. Exception. Where approved, the slump is permitted to exceed 6 inches, 152 millimeters, for concrete mixtures that are resistant to segregation and are in accordance with the form manufacturer's requirements. Slump of concrete placed in stay-in-place forms shall exceed 6 inches, 152 millimeters. Slump of concrete shall be determined in accordance with ASTM C143. R407.3 Columns. Structural requirements. The columns shall be restrained to prevent lateral displacement at the bottom end. Wood columns shall not be less in nominal size than 4 inches by 4 inches, 102 millimeters by 102 millimeters. Steel columns shall not be less than 3-inch diameter, 76 millimeters. Schedule 40 pipe manufactured in accordance with ASTM A53 Grade B or approved equivalent. Exception. In seismic design categories A, B, and C, columns not more than 48 inches, 1,219 millimeters, in height on a pier or footing are exempt from the bottom end lateral displacement requirement within underfloor areas enclosed by a continuous foundation. R404.1.9 Isolated masonry piers. Isolated masonry piers shall be constructed in accordance with this section and the general masonry construction requirements of Section R606. Hollow masonry piers shall have a minimum nominal thickness of 8 inches, 203 millimeters, with a nominal height not exceeding 4 times the nominal thickness and a nominal length not exceeding 3 times the nominal thickness. Where hollow masonry units are solidly filled with concrete or grout, piers shall be permitted to have a nominal height not exceeding 10 times the nominal thickness. R406.1 Concrete and masonry foundation damp proofing. Except where required by Section R406.2 to be waterproofed, foundation walls that retain earth and enclose interior spaces and floors below grade shall be damp-proofed from the higher of A, the top of the footing, or B, 6 inches, 152 millimeters, below the top of the basement floor, to the finished grade. Masonry walls shall have not less than 3/8 inch, 9.5 millimeters, Portland cement parging applied to the exterior wall. The parging shall be damp-proofed in accordance with one of the following. 1. Bituminous coating. 2. 3 pounds per square yard, 1.63 kilograms per square meter of acrylic modified cement. 3. 1/8 inch, 3.2 millimeters, coat of surface bonding cement complying with ASTM C887. 4. Any material permitted for waterproofing in Section R406.2. 5. Other approved methods or materials. Exception. Parging of unit masonry walls is not required, where a material is approved for direct application to the masonry. Concrete walls shall be damp-proofed by applying any one of the listed damp-proofing materials or any one of the waterproofing materials listed in Section R406.2 to the exterior of the wall. There is a distinct difference between damp-proofing and waterproofing. Damp-proofing is intended to keep out soil moisture, while waterproofing keeps out both moisture and liquid water. R406.2 Concrete and Masonry Foundation Waterproofing. In areas where a high water table or other severe soil water conditions are known to exist, exterior foundation walls that retain earth and enclose interior spaces and floors below grade shall be waterproofed from the higher of A, the top of the footing, or B, 6 inches, 152 millimeters below the top of the basement floor, to the finished grade. 1. 2-ply hot-mopped felts. 2. 55-pound, 25-kilogram roll roofing. 3. 6 mil, 0.15 millimeter polyvinyl chloride. 4. 6 mil 0.15 millimeter polyethylene. 5. 40 mil 1 millimeter polymer modified asphalt. 6. 60 mil 1.5 millimeter flexible polymer cement. 7. 1/8 inch 3 millimeter cement-based fiber reinforced waterproof coating. 8. 60 mil 1.5 millimeter solvent-free liquid applied synthetic rubber. R404.1.3.3.7.1 Steel reinforcement. Steel reinforcement shall comply with the requirements of ASTM A615, A706, or A996. ASTM A996 bars produced from rail steel shall be type R. In buildings assigned to seismic design category A, B, or C, the minimum yield strength of reinforcing steel shall be 40,000 psi, grade 40, 276 MPa. In buildings assigned to seismic design category D0, D1, or D2, reinforcing steel shall comply with the requirements of ASTM A706 for low alloy steel with a minimum yield strength of 60,000 psi, grade 60, 414 MPa. R404.2.1 Lumber identification. Load-bearing lumber shall be identified by the grade mark of a lumber grading or inspection agency that has been approved by an accreditation body that complies with DOC PS 20. In lieu of a grade mark, a certificate of inspection issued by a lumber grading or inspection agency meeting the requirements of this section shall be accepted. Wood structural panels shall conform to DOC PS 1 or DOC PS 2 and shall be identified by a grade mark or certificate of inspection issued by an approved agency. R405.1 Concrete or masonry foundations. Drains shall be provided around concrete or masonry foundations that retain earth and enclose habitable or usable spaces located below grade. Drainage tiles, gravel or crushed stone drains, perforated pipe or other approved systems or materials shall be installed at or below the top of the footing or below the bottom of the slab and shall discharge by gravity or mechanical means into an approved drainage system. Gravel or crushed stone drains shall extend not less than 1 foot, 305 millimeters, beyond the outside edge of the footing and 6 inches, 152 millimeters above the top of the footing, and be covered with an approved filter membrane material. The top of open joints of drain tiles shall be protected with strips of building paper. Except where otherwise recommended by the drain manufacturer, perforated drains shall be surrounded with an approved filter membrane, or the filter membrane shall cover the washed gravel or crushed rock covering the drain. Drainage tiles or perforated pipe shall be placed on not less than 2 inches, 51 millimeters of washed gravel or crushed rock, not less than 1 sieve size larger than the tile joint opening or perforation, and covered with not less than 6 inches, 152 millimeters of the same material. Exception: a drainage system is not required where the foundation is installed on well-drained ground or sand-gravel mixture soils according to the Unified Soil Classification System, Group 1 soils, as detailed in Table R405.1. R403.2 Footings for wood foundations. Footings for wood foundations shall be in accordance with figures R403.1.2 and R403.1.3. Gravel shall be washed and well graded. The maximum size stone shall not exceed 3/4 inch, 19.1 millimeters. Gravel shall be free from organic, clayey, or silty soils. Sand shall be coarse, not smaller than 1/16 inch, 1.6 millimeter grains, and shall be free from organic, clayey, or silty soils. Crushed stone shall have a maximum size of 1/2 inch, 12.7 millimeters. R404.5.2 Precast concrete foundation design drawings. Precast concrete foundation wall design drawings shall be submitted to the building official and approved prior to installation. Drawings shall include, at a minimum, the following information. 1. Design loading as applicable. 2. Footing design and material. 3. Concentrated loads and their points of application. 4. Soil bearing capacity. 5. Maximum allowable total uniform load. 6. Seismic design category. 7. Basic wind speed. R403.3.2 Protection of horizontal insulation below ground. Horizontal insulation placed less than 12 inches, 305 millimeters below the ground surface, or that portion of horizontal insulation extending outward more than 24 inches, 610 millimeters, from the foundation edge, shall be protected against damage by use of a concrete slab or asphalt paving on the ground surface directly above the insulation, or by cementitious board, plywood rated for below ground use, or other approved materials placed below ground directly above the top surface of the insulation. R404.1.5.3 Pier and curtain wall foundations. Use of pier and curtain wall foundations shall be permitted to support light frame construction not more than 2 stories in height, provided that the following requirements are met. 1. All load-bearing walls shall be placed on continuous concrete footings placed integrally with the exterior wall footings. 2. The minimum actual thickness of a load-bearing masonry wall shall be not less than 4 inches, 102 millimeters nominal, or 3 3/8 inches, 92 millimeters actual thickness. 3. In seismic design categories D0, D1, and D2, prescriptive reinforcement shall be provided in the horizontal and vertical direction. Provide minimum horizontal joint reinforcement of 2 number 9 gauge wires spaced not less than 6 inches, 152 millimeters, or 1/4 inch in diameter, 6.44 millimeters wire at 10 inches, 254 millimeters on center vertically. Provide minimum vertical reinforcement of 1 number 4 bar at 48 inches, 1,220 millimeters on center horizontally grouted in place. R408.1 Ventilation. The underfloor space between the bottom of the floor joists and the earth, under any building except space occupied by a basement, shall have ventilation openings through foundation walls or exterior walls. The minimum net area of ventilation openings shall be not less than 1 square foot, 0.0929 square meters, for each 150 square feet, 14 square meters, of underfloor space area, unless the ground surface is covered by a Class 1 vapor retarder material. Where a Class 1 vapor retarder material is used, the minimum net area of ventilation openings shall be not less than 1 square foot, 0.0929 square meters, for each 1,500 square feet, 140 square meters of underfloor space area. One such ventilating opening shall be within 3 feet, 914 millimeters of each corner of the building. R408.4 Access. Access shall be provided to all underfloor spaces. Access openings through the floor shall be not smaller than 18 inches by 24 inches, 457 millimeters by 610 millimeters. Openings through a perimeter wall shall be not less than 16 inches by 24 inches, 407 millimeters by 610 millimeters. Where any portion of the through wall access is below grade, an areaway not less than 16 inches by 24 inches, 407 millimeters by 610 millimeters, shall be provided. The bottom of the areaway shall not be below the threshold of the access opening. Through wall access openings shall not be located under a door to the residence. See section M1305.1.4 for access requirements where mechanical equipment is located under floors.